Kouri Richins is pending prosecution for the alleged murder of her husband with a 5x the lethal dose of fentanyl in his Moscow Mule. We recently covered Kouri when a newly unsealed search warrant brought to light that her mother was involved, perhaps, in the suspicious death of her partner shortly after she had become the beneficiary of that partner's estate. So weird. And in that search warrant, they were looking for probable cause. Again, not a beyond the reasonable doubt standard, but they were looking for probable cause to show that Kouri's mom's phone needed to be searched, arguing that Kouri's mother showed disdain for the victim, in this case, Eric, Kouri's husband, and that Kouri and her mom were very close and spoke quite a lot, and that Kouri's mother was at the home the night that Eric passed away. We're going to get more information, I think, about that today. So there was concern that Kouri's mother was involved in a conspiracy to commit murder, and that is what was in that unsealed search warrant. Then prosecutors in Utah dropped an entire new charging document. Art by Julie E. in the chat said she's the one that wrote a children's book about grief, right? Yes, she was just promoting her children's book about grief when she was arrested a year after Eric's death. Kouri Richins has found herself a stack of new charges, including attempted murder from the alleged attempted Valentine's Day poisoning of Eric Richins, wherein afterwards he told friends that he almost died. They said he seemed rattled, and he told friends that he thought his wife had tried to poison him. The new charging document also details some text messages between defendant Kouri Richins and her quote-unquote paramour. That is exactly the words used in the charging documents, which seems to indicate that Kouri Richins during this time was also having an affair. We also learn that more in detail about Kouri Richins asking for stronger fentanyl between the Valentine's Day, February 14th incident and Eric Richins' death on March 3rd. They are charging her with insurance fraud for life insurance policies taken out, mortgage fraud, and forgery relating to the financial things they allege she was doing leading up to Eric's death. They also very clearly illuminate the day that Kouri Richins learned that she was not a beneficiary of Eric Richins' estate, and a conversation with a friend saying that she was trapped in her marriage, she wanted out of her marriage, but if she left under their premarital agreement, she would get nothing. There's also a conversation with a friend where she indicates things would be better if her husband was dead. The day that Kouri learned, 3 days after Eric's death, that the home that she was living in belonged to her husband's estate in charge of her sister-in-law was the same day that Kouri attacked her sister-in-law and is facing misdemeanor charges for that currently. But what we didn't know before is that sheriffs arrived on scene and got the estate attorney for Eric Richins on the phone, and that attorney made clear to Kouri for the first time that Eric had moved all of his assets into a trust controlled by his sister, and that the home in his name, his interest in his company, and his life insurance policy of $500,000 all belonged to the trust, and none of it belonged to Kouri Richins. The state has laid out a financial motive for this case since the detention hearing, but now we see those additional charges, bringing it to 11 charges, including insurance fraud, mortgage fraud, forgery, and the additional attempted murder charge. There's also more information about what Kouri was talking to her mother about, including her mom asking about a life insurance policy and Kouri saying, "Don't mention that one." There is so much more that law enforcement knows about this case, but what has been shared about this case in this newest charging document is wild. Kouri is still set to go to preliminary hearing on May 15th. That will probably be a multi-day preliminary hearing. We will keep an eye on whether that date gets pushed out due to these new charges or not. I imagine the defense has quite a lot of this information now, and we just saw that unsealed search warrant that I covered both on my long form channel and broke down on Quick Bits. Thank you to the law nerds. Don't forget to do the YouTubey things. I will see you soon. Bye. For deep dives into the stories that I covered here, you can find them on my YouTube channel at The Emily D. Baker and The Emily Show podcast. I stream every Tuesday and Thursday. The podcast goes live on Wednesdays. And if you want to stay in the loop with everything I'm doing, receive the fastest notifications out there, and get more Law Nerd community, join me at lawnerdapp.com, our free app for iOS and Android.